You know the worst moment in sports?
It's not the final score. It's the locker room after. When the door closes and there's no crowd, no cameras, just you and the fact that you lost. Perhaps you know exactly how that feels right now. Not on a field, in your own life. You voted for Trump. You wore the hat. You showed up. And somewhere along the way, a slow, gnawing feeling started to grow. A gap between what you were promised and what you're watching unfold. Here's what nobody told you in that locker room. The fear of admitting you made the wrong choice. That's the problem. Not you, not the athlete, the fear. And today, in the coach's training, we're going to do what every elite athlete does after a loss. We're not going to wallow, we're not going to blame the refs, we're going to review the tape, and we're going to write the questions. Before we step onto the training floor, let's take a reading. 6 questions, 0 to 10. Higher scores mean you're ready for this work. 1. I can sit alone with the fact that I was wrong about something important. 0 means the thought makes you physically uncomfortable. 10 means you've already made peace with it. 2. I can separate who I am from a decision I made. 0 means my vote is my identity. 10 means my vote was a choice, and choices can change. 3. I've let myself feel the loss, not just defend against it. 0 means you're still in what about the other side mode. 10 means you've sat with the disappointment. 4. I believe that reviewing my mistakes will make me stronger, not weaker. 0 means you think looking back is weakness. 10 means you know it's training. 5. I'm willing to ask hard questions, even when I don't know the answers yet. 0 means uncertainty terrifies you. 10 means curiosity is stronger than fear. 6. I want to become a champion of my own life more than I want to be right. 0 means winning the argument still matters most. 10 means winning yourself back matters more. Take your score, write it down. Because in the next chapter of the guide, we're going to move. Tim Grover trained Michael Jordan, he trained Kobe Bryant, and he said something about losing that rewired how I think about this entire journey. He was talking about Chris Bumstead, 4-time Mr. Olympia Classic Physique champion. And Grover pointed out something strange. Bumstead doesn't have Jordan's bulletproof confidence. Jordan wouldn't even dream of losing. Bumstead is the opposite. Grover said, Chris thinks about losing all the time. He's scared of losing to his opponent, but his idea was that because he has accepted the fact that he may lose, he believes it's given him the potential to be able to put it all on the line, in a way that someone who hadn't considered the possibility of losing wouldn't be able to do it. Read that again. Because he accepted he might lose, he could put everything on the line. That's the inversion. That's what the sports world knows, and political tribalism hides from you. The person who can't admit they backed the wrong candidate, they're not strong. They're frozen. Every piece of evidence that challenges their choice has to be deflected, rationalized, ignored. That takes enormous energy. It's like an athlete who refuses to watch the game tape because they're afraid of what they'll see. But the athlete who sits down and says, "Show me where I missed the tackle," that athlete just got better, not because the loss disappeared, because the loss became data. Roger Federer, 20 Grand Slam titles, lost 54% of the points he played in his career, more than half. And he said, "You can't control the outcome all the time. What you can control is your process. You can control the work ethic, the consistent discipline, your attitude. The election happened. The betrayals are unfolding. That's the outcome you didn't control. But your process, what you do tomorrow morning, how you talk to your kids, whether you stay in denial or start the work, that's yours. Tom Brady was drafted 199th. He was a backup on a winless team. And looking back, he said something every former MAGA voter needs to hear. All those experiences that we think are the hardest things in our life end up being the best experiences in our life. Because if you approach it with humility and you look inward, they become the best opportunities for growth and learning. The loss isn't the problem. The loss is the training ground. The problem is the fear of admitting it was a loss at all. In the previous chapter of the guide, we did the hard thing. We made the list of broken promises. You wrote down what you were told and what actually happened. If you haven't done that exercise yet, pause this, go back, because what we're about to do builds on it. Here's the training today. 95 questions for the president, not 95 accusations, not 95 gotcha moments. 95 questions, the way an athlete reviews game tape, frame by frame. What happened here? Why did I make that cut? Where was the breakdown? When a defensive back gets burned for a touchdown, the coach doesn't say, "You're a terrible player." He rolls the tape and asks, "What did you see at the snap? Where were your hips? What was your assignment?" The questions aren't punishment, they're diagnostics. They separate the athlete from the error. And that's the whole point of this training. The fear that's been keeping you stuck, the fear of admitting you chose wrong. It lives in the space between, "I voted for him and therefore I am the mistake." That leap is false. It's also the one thing every propaganda machine depends on. If they can convince you that questioning the leader means questioning yourself, you'll never ask anything. So we're going to break that. Not by arguing with you, by training you. 95 questions. That sounds like a lot. It is. But you won't write them all today. Today we start the list. You'll add to it over the week. The point isn't to finish the list this hour. The point is to start asking without fear. Let's begin. I'm going to give you the first 6 questions. These are your warm-up reps, 2 from each category. Write them down. Then you'll add your own. Policy questions. Number 1. What promise did you make that surprised me most when you broke it? Number 2. When a tariff costs my family money, who does that serve? Character questions. Number 3. Would I accept this behavior from my boss? Number 4. Would I accept this behavior from my pastor? Self-examination questions. Number 5. What did I stop saying out loud because my group wouldn't approve? Number 6. When was the first moment I felt that slow, gnawing feeling and pushed it down? That's the first set, 6 questions. You've got 89 more to go this week. And here's how you build them. Every time you see a headline that makes your stomach tighten, ask a question instead of reaching for a defense. Every time a friend posts something you know is false, but you feel the urge to defend anyway, write the question instead. Why do I feel the need to defend this? That's question 7. This is training, and like any training, it's uncomfortable at first. The athlete who's never done film review hates it for the first 3 sessions. Then, something shifts. The tape stops being an accusation and starts being a competitive advantage. If I see it, I can fix it. You're not making a list of failures, you're building a diagnostic. The 95 questions are your game tape. Muhammad Ali said, "Suffer now and live the rest of your life a champion." The suffering isn't punishment, It's training. It's the forge. Here's your roundtable question for this week. Bring it Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern at the Wayfinding Station. What is the one question on your list that scares you the most to ask? And why? Not the most political one, not the most clever, the one that, if you asked it honestly, would change something. That's the one to bring. Because here's what I know from the training floor. You can't out-train a lie you won't name. The question you're most afraid to ask is the exact one that sets you free. The healing starts today, not when you're ready. Now. The Guide to Leaving MAGA, your 8-chapter course in political awakening and self-reclamation. LeavingMAGAGuide.com. The Roundtable, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern at the Wayfinding Station. Free, confidential, the community where you chart your own course. The book, Betrayed by Trump, A Guide to Self-Discovery, available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. You are not alone, and it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to choose your own values, your family, and your country over any political movement. The fear of admitting you were wrong, that's the opponent, not you. Never you. Continue the guide. The next chapter is ready for you.